For those just arriving, if you have a laptop, you can please use it today. This is a very interactive session. If not, a mobile phone is also can be used, but prefer the laptop. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Interactive Forum. My name is Nicola Buckley. I am Regional Director of Revenue for Minor Hotels, Middle East and Africa. I'm also part of the HSMEI Advisory Board for Revenue. Today we are running a masterclass on AI prompting framework, which I'm actually very excited to participate in. This session offers a hands-on approach on how to maximize the potential for text and image generation on AI. Now, this man needs no introduction. You saw him yesterday on the main stage. However, he did ask me this morning, which a little bit confused on, to introduce him with the theme of love. Now, I didn't quite know what that actually meant. I didn't know if I had to propose to him, get down on one knee on stage. However, I decided to ask someone with a higher IQ than me. So this is what ChatGPT gave me on what love is in AI. So L is learning how technology evolves. O is for opening new doors of opportunity. V is for valuing the human connection it enhances. And E is for empowering us to create meaningful change. That was quite impressive. I actually really liked that. So please welcome on stage the founder of Vivander Advisors, Michael J. Goldrich.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, stop it, stop it. All right, so we're going to work in groups today. So those people at your table, you're going to actually be doing some stuff together with, so just know that. Now, who here is a little bit afraid or intimidated by, say, ChatGPT and this technology? Anybody a little concerned? All right. So I promise you that anyone who's a little intimidated by it, not sure how to use it, at the end of this hour, that will be dispelled. That's a guarantee. So, all right. So, antitrust, you guys? All right, that's me. That's that. Do they need to scan this?
Everyone's checked in now?
All right, so now everybody, if you have your laptop, log on to ChatGPT. If you don't have a laptop, log on to your phone. If you don't have to have a paid account. Anyone here have a paid account? Just raise your hands. All right, so the paid account versus the free one. So the paid one, you'll be able to get more images generated, and you get some other special functionality, but you don't need it for today. All right, so there we go. All right, so a lot of you have probably used ChatGPT when it first came out, and you were very underwhelmed. You're like, you know what, it doesn't really seem super special. And the reason that has happened is because at the top there, that is Google. At the bottom, that's ChatGPT. They look very, very similar. As a result, Google has taught us all to interact with it with basic keywords. And then we just kind of put the keywords in, you search, you scroll, and then you click, search, scroll. That is a search paradigm that Google has taught us. When you try it with ChatGPT, you use the same sort of keywords, it's going to be very generic. And people are like, this isn't really impressive, it's very generic. It's because ChatGPT is a totally different paradigm. It actually gives you answers. Whereas Google, you search, ChatGPT, it's answers. Now, we're not covered today. Eventually, it's going to move to actions and goals. And that's actually when it actually can do stuff. But we're not going to talk about that today. So just to know that. So you're going to have, what I'm going to show you today, and what I'm going to share with you today, is you have to get out of the reactive sort of keyword ways they interact and actually be a little more thoughtful, a little bit more proactive. So that's the difference here. All right, generative AI, we talked about it yesterday. Just so you guys know about it, generative is you're generating new content. You're generating text. You're generating image. You're generating music. You're generating video. Taking data that has been trained on something similar to something new. That's generative AI. All right. Now, generative AI, for those who are kind of intimidated by it, if you think of it like this, is not so intimidating because all it is a word generation machine. It's not thinking about what it's creating. It's just looking for the words, the next words that are statistically probable. Based on all the training it's done, it's just putting word after word after word after word very quickly, so it looks like it's thinking. So it's a word generation machine. That's all it is. So, and I will show it to you. So some up from Anders. Let's read that. Read that. We have a microphone for Anders? Come. There we go. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Everyone's going to be on the spot. So if you guys don't want to be on the spot, you better start hiding.
Okay, you will pay for what you have done. She hissed, her blade flashing in the moonlight, the battle that had ensued.
Now, what do you guys think? This word right here, after ensued, look at that. What do you think the word should be there? Say it out loud. That's one. Words, just throw words. Read it. What do you think it ensued? All right, that's maybe a trickier one. So, according to ChatGPT, in terms of probability, and we're going to do one more, but probability of the word is was. So this, remember, it is a word generation machine, and is looking in terms of probability, and it looks at words and it calls them tokens. And that's probably the most technical we'll get today, tokens. So was 70% chance that's going to happen. We're going to do this again, and there are going to be a lot more words that are choices. All right, who wants to read this one? Just pick someone random. All right, and then we're going to fill in the blank, and everyone is going to pipe in this time. No quiet people.
No, Johnny, Steve didn't jump off a bridge. That was just a figure of speech. I am glad you are.
All right, wait, in the back. I don't hear the back. All right, so we hear a whole smattering. So what does ChatGPT think? The next word? Concerned. But you see all these probabilities, which is interesting, right? It is a word generation machine. Not intimidating, not scary, it's just picking the words. But how do you manipulate which word's going to show up? So how you manipulate the word to show up is with this concept called temperature. So temperature, a very low temperature, which is like 0.1, is going to pick the most probable word. So it'll pick concerned or interested. But if you pick a temperature that's very high, which is 0.9, it might pick something down here. So for those who are writing that you want to be creative, you pick high temperature because it's going to be a little bit unusual. But if you're doing something that's maybe a little bit more professional, you want a lower temperature, things that are more expected. So now we're going to do our first group exercise. I know you guys are super excited. All right. So we're going to try it. Isn't that exciting? In the back, you guys excited? There we go. All right. So who here has been to New York City? Who here has been to the model boat pond in Central Park in New York City? There you go. So this is a fun place. I used to like to go there as a little kid. So those aren't real boats. Those are like little model boats. All right? So this is what I want you guys to do. I want you to put into your ChatGPT, first you're going to say, write a blog post for the model boat pond in New York, temperature equals 0.1. Then after that's done, when it's done doing its stuff, you're going to do another one and say, write a blog post for the model boat pond, temperature equals 0.9. And then when you're done, you're going to discuss the output at your table and look at what's different about them. All right? This is the hands-on part. This is what you signed up for. All right, you guys got it? Anyone, is it word generating away? All right, yeah, it's going to write a lot of words. So you do it one, and then you do the next one. And the only thing that's going to be different in terms of the two prompts that you guys put in is either 0.1 or 0.9. All right, so all right, someone have output for the first one yet? Someone have output for the second one yet? All right, so take a look. And so for mine, look, it spit out a lot of stuff. So, all right, we're going to have someone read this real quickly. Where's the microphone? All right, just read the first one at the top, the first bullet, somebody.
Nestled in the heart of Central Park, the conservatory water, often called the Model Boat Pond, is a cherished spot that captures the spirit of New York City in a unique, whimsical way. This tranquil
All right, so that's good. Now let's go to the next one. So that was 0.1. Now let's do 0.9.
Every weekend, the pond comes alive with a crowd that's as diverse as New York itself. You will find kids racing the small boats with squeals of delight, elderly New Yorkers reminiscing about afternoons spent here as children, and tourists snapping photos to capture the charm of this one-of-a-kind attraction.
All right, so that was great. Okay, so the differences. So again, we talked about 0.1, which is the most probable words. 0.9 is the least probable. So when you look at it, so you look at the style here, it says low temperature, and then I said, ChatGPT, compare these two. Tell me what you think. And so this is what it kind of came up with and says both styles have strengths. The one with high temperature passage crafts a narrative giving the pond a personality, a sense of mystery, whereas the low temperature passage is more of a straightforward overview. So it's more like a guidebook. So like if you're writing something about your hotel, like FAQs, that's 0.1. But you're writing a promotion to say, oh, that's blah, 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 that's 0.9. You want to be more colorful, more exciting. All right. So isn't that great? Wasn't that fun? Now we're going to do something even more fun. All right? So here we go. Type into ChatGPT how many R's are in the word strawberry. But don't say anything out loud, because this is going to be group participation. All right, so, but let me know when you guys are kind of done, and it kind of gives you the answers. All right? All right, who got 1 for R's? Anyone get 1? Who got 2? Who got 3? All right, how many R's are in the word strawberry? But yet, some people got 2. This is called a hallucination. And look how certain it is. It contains 2 R's. Is there anything else? This is one of the things that people worry about this technology because it's very persuasive. It's very confident that it's right, but it's wrong. And so there are 2 things about hallucinations. There is the fact that it makes stuff up, which is the 2's, and is very confident in telling you that it's right. Those are things to be aware of on this. All right, but why did it get it wrong? Remember we talked about the technical thing tokens before? All right, that technical thing's coming back again. All right, so let's look over here. How many tokens are in, how many R's are in the word strawberry? There are 8 tokens. So it doesn't know that these are R's. It just sees it as a number. And so it's taking a guess. It has no idea, but it doesn't tell you it doesn't know. It just goes ahead and does it. All right, but if you wanted to solve it, if you actually wanted it to do it correctly, you put little spaces in between them, and then it's positive. You break it out. That's a hallucination. We're going to give another example of something like this a little bit later on. All right. So a question in the front.
How did the results vary from one to another? It's the same statement going into the same ChatGPT.
What's that?
How did the counting differ from one person to another person? It's the same statement.
It's totally random. Again, it doesn't know, so it's just taking a guess.
Okay.
It's not saying it doesn't know. What it wants to do is it wants to please you and answer your question, even if it doesn't know the answer.
Would there be a difference between a paid and an unpaid subscription in that case?
It doesn't matter. Like that was my paid one. It's wrong.
Okay.
It's guessing because it doesn't know it's an R. It's numbers. So that's something to look out for. So this is like another.
Her answer and my answer.
What's that?
It's not the same AI who's guessing her answer and my answer.
Yeah, it's just guessing. It doesn't know. It doesn't see the R's unless you kind of break it up. So this is also called this thing is called the jagged, again, another word with the paradox, but it can be so smart. It can pass a law exam. It can pass graduate exams, but it doesn't know how many R's are in the word strawberry. So this is one of those things that you just have to be aware of when you use this technology. Know that it wants to answer what it thinks you want to know, whether it's accurate or not. All right, so then here, this is just sort of I'll describe sort of what the framework here is. So this number one thing here, that's called the context window. That's where all the stuff happens. That's where you type stuff in. All right, number two, for the free one, paperclip, that's where you can attach a document. 3, these are little shortcuts. 4 is the different models. So if you have a paid version here, you can have more choices of models. 5 is a matter of making it private or not, so whether people are going to see your stuff. 6, these are the GPTs. 7 is search and enter information. 8 is your little profile information. And 9, this is where you send it. There you go, real quick. And then these are just little shortcuts. If you don't know what to put in, it kind of helps you, and isn't that nice and handy? All right, so let's go. So what is prompt engineering? Prompt engineering, we all have had this term prompt engineering. All it is understanding your task and knowing how to communicate with this thing. That's all it is. All right, so let's go. So this thing is multimodal. I used that word yesterday. Multimodal means that it can see, it can hear, and it can talk. So I'm going to do a demonstration. Anyone here speak Italian? Oh, right over there in the striped shirt, as if this wasn't planned. All right, so here, we're going to use a little ChatGPT here, and it's going to talk. All right? So this is what I'm going to tell it. It's coming on. All right. I don't know why it's doing that. So basically what I'm going to say is when it hears Italian, translate it to English. When it hears English, translate it to Italian. And hopefully this thing works. We tried it earlier, and it did. Hi, when you hear Italian, translate it into English. And when you hear English, translate it into Italian, okay?
Buongiorno, come stiamo tutti oggi?
Hello, how is everyone today?
Everyone is great. Everyone is wondering what you're talking about.
Tutti stanno bene. Tutti si stanno chiedendo di cosa stai parlando.
All right, so that is an example of how you can use the voice here for this thing. So again, that's a multimodal component. So we can't, all right.
Okay.
All right, shh. All right, so let's continue on. Where did I put the clicker? Oh, he's still talking. All right, shh.
We'd like to talk about her.
All right, got it to be, hopefully it'll be quiet now. All right, so example of vision. So I took a picture of this at my house, and I said to it, what is it? And it went ahead and kind of described it. This is a little Sonos speaker. So this is a way to do it. There are lots of little tricks you can use. You can take a picture in your refrigerator and say, what can I make for dinner tonight? It'll tell you. It'll take a picture of what I'm wearing and say, does this look appropriate for this evening? It's a blah, blah, blah. And it'll give you an opinion. All right, so there are all different ways in which you can interact with this technology. With images, you load an image up, you can ask all sorts of questions. It can create new images, which we'll talk about, and I'll move along a little faster so we can get there. And then you can talk with it, which we just did. All right, so prompting. Prompting. All right, there are two ways to prompt. There's a conversational way to prompt, and then there's talking to it like it's a tool. So conversation, it's called Chat GPT. Chat. It's meant for you to talk to it. So here's the thing. All right. Now let's have somebody, two people, read this on the left-hand side. Actually, we don't even need to do that. We're running out of time, so make sure. So on the left is like someone, you know what? I want to make a chocolate cake, right? I don't know how to start. I'll act it out. So I want to make a chocolate cake. I don't know how to make a chocolate cake. I said, what kind of cake do you want to make? And it goes back and forth, a conversation on the left. That's a conversation. That's treating it like a person. On the right-hand side, I say, I want to make a cake. Here's what it needs to be, and just tell me the ingredients. Just give it to me. That is treating it like a tool. You can treat it like a person, treat it like a tool. Now, if you're going to treat it like a person, those of you who think that this technology is a little bit intimidating, this is the way you interact with this thing. You have to imagine in your head that it is a person. You have to imagine in your head that it is not just a person, it's a person that reports to you. And it's not just a person who reports to you, it's a person who reports to you and it's their first day at work. And this person can do pretty much anything you ask them to do. It's incumbent on you, not it, to be a good manager, to be a good communicator, to say exactly what you want it to do. And if you do that, and you give it examples, and you're patient, it'll give you exactly what you want. That is the secret. So anyone who is intimidated, thought it was scary to interact with it, if you think of it as a person who is remote, that fear should be dispelled, I hope. All right, so group for the question. If we had time to go through this, we'd just talk about how to be a manager. Everyone here is a great manager, right? Everyone here is a terrific communicator. If you're a terrific communicator, then you can talk to this thing. You just tell it what you need to do. That's all you need to do. All right, so I want to be cognizant of the time. We got a lot of stuff to get to. All right, so I'm going to share with you 9 kind of different frameworks and how you now, instead of talk to it, because now you guys know how to talk to this thing, but say you just want to treat it like a tool and you just want to tell it exactly what you want it to do. I'm going to give you 9 different ways to do that. They're all kind of similar, but you pick whichever one works best for you. You ready? In the back? All right, I'm afraid I'm losing you guys. You guys are falling asleep back there. All right, the first one is called the APE framework. Action, purpose, expectation. Again, and here's an example. Action, what action do you want this thing to take? Purpose, what is the purpose of what you're asking it to do? What is your expectation? This is treating it like a tool. Again, remember, we talked about Google, keywords, crappy output, better output. Let's do the next one, all right? So that's APE. Now let's get to TAG, the TAG framework. And I didn't come up with any of these. So task, action, goal. So a TAG example, task, develop a content marketing plan. Action, create a 3-month marketing calendar. Goal, increase brand visibility and customer engagement through consistent content posting. Seems pretty clear, right? All right, ready for the next one? It's getting good. It's getting good. All right, the ERA framework. Expectation, role, action. You can start to see some of the similarities here. There you go. Expectation, provide a market analysis report. Role, you are a marketing research analyst. Action, conduct research on concepts in the tech industry and summarize key findings. All right, so this is going to hallucinate. And I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, because you're asking it something general to do some research for you. If you're not giving it a PDF or a frame of reference, it's going to make stuff up probably. So you have to always, always, always double check what it does. It's incumbent on each and every one of you. This is called human in the loop. And this is why this technology will not replace people completely, because it's never going to be fully accurate. All right. RACE, the RACE framework: role, action, context, expectation. So role, you are an expert in digital marketing. Action, generate a list of effective tools, AI tools. Context, the user is beginner in digital marketing. Expectation, a list of tools along with a brief explanation of how it can help. Interesting, right? Actually, when I first learned about this one, the RACE example, I was thinking, this is kind of cool. And I wondered, all right, expert in digital marketing. I wonder if I can make this like a CMO, like a chief marketing officer. And I named the chief marketing officer Holly, and I give her some experience, give her a personality. Well, Holly persists in the chat. And Chief Marketing Officer Holly persisted in the chat, and she was very friendly. Then I thought, what if I create Stanley, the lawyer for franchises, hotel franchises, who makes sure that Holly doesn't come up with some campaign that's going to upset the guests. And I created Stanley, I have Holly, and I have them both in the chat. Do they both persist in the chat? Give them both a set of expertise and a personality, and they both persisted in the chat. And then I show them a campaign that I'm thinking about coming up with, and I say, both of you take a look at this campaign. Give me your feedback. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it going to upset people? And it will. And then I try to explain this to people, and people didn't understand what I was talking about, so I wrote a book about it called Too Many Hats, Too Little Time, available on Amazon. All right, so let's go. So RISE framework, this is the next one. Request, input, scenario, expectation. Request, recommend content ideas for a marketing campaign. Input, the business sells eco-friendly products. Scenario, they are launching a new biodegradable product line. Expectation, provided content. Ideas align with sustainability. All right, CARE framework. Everyone kind of starting to see some of the patterns and similarities across all these frameworks, but everyone likes different acronyms, so we give people choices. Choices are great, right? All right, context, action, results, example. Context, a company wants to improve employee engagement. Action, design an internal newsletter. Result, increase engagement feedback. Example, provide a sample newsletter layout and content suggestions. All right, I think we got like 3 more coming. COAST framework, and this one's a little bit of a cheat because it gets the ST from the steps. All right, so context, objective, action, steps. So context, small business aims to grow. Objective, action, so you guys get it, right? Trace, task, role, action, context, expectation. Again, very similar. And then roses. Get the similarity? And when you guys are prompting, whichever one works for you based on whatever scenario you think you need, these are the choices. So look at it. There's so many of them. So now we're going to have a chance to do an interactive exercise. Are you guys super excited? In the back? I think I lost you guys back there. All right. Now here's another thing. When you guys put in a prompt, at the end, if you put this in there, you're always guaranteed to get really good output. So you put in whatever the prompt is that you're putting in there, and at the end you say, ask me clarifying questions until you're 95% sure you can complete the task successfully. Always stick that in there. And I showed this yesterday. These are the words. You see words like these, you know that the person was lazy and didn't edit it. And look, the word delve. In the United States, the word delve really didn't exist like 3 years ago. But now, everywhere you see the word delve. You know why delve comes along? Because where is the word delve quite prevalent in terms of business? It actually is in Western Africa. And the reason that Western African language got into ChatGPT is because when they were testing the output, the people that were testing it, they were looking for inexpensive labor that was proficient in English, and they would correct it, and they used the word delve. And that is why the word delve has like a 3,000% increase in the English language. All right. This is the other thing. I'm sure you guys have seen this all over the place, and right away you know this has been generated by ChatGPT or some chatbot. In the era marked by rapid innovation, unprecedented change, landscape, realm, these are the words that show that it's super generic, that these people didn't know what you guys know now about how to come up with really good prompting that's going to be with great temperature, right? You guys are never going to create something like this, right? In the back? All right. I'm worried about the back. All right, so here's a task for you. All right, so get on your little phones, and here you go. I want you guys to write a memorable blog post for the model boat pond. All right, how much time we got? We got time. So here, use what we learned, and I'll show you the different frameworks, but this is the exercise. And then you guys are going to talk at your own table. So make about 250 words. Give it a title and body copy. Title should have a good hook. Audience, family travelers in New York City for the first time. Summer. You are running marketing for a family-friendly hotel about 500 meters from Central Park. Do the best you can. You don't have to be exact, but basically the exercise is this. Write a blog post using one of these handy-dandy frameworks. Do your best. Let's go. Oh. So role, probably a marketing person writing this stuff. Action, create a blog post. Result, you want target families, people coming to New York City for the first time. You got to tell it you want a title. It'll probably give you a title anyway, but you want the title to have a good hook. Oh. Everyone doing okay in the back there? Can you see it? All right. I like the back. All right, so you guys now discuss among yourselves at your table when you guys are ready what you found interesting, what you learned, anything that you think is interesting. So here's what you're going to talk about when you get together is, what framework did you use, if you used one? Do you think that it was appropriate for the audience? Was it better than you expected or not? Do you feel the post is memorable? Because remember, the exercise make it memorable. Memorable, probably use a temperature of 0.9. For those of you who forgot, in the back, I know you guys forgot back there. Temperature equals 0.9. Do you feel your post was generic? So these are the things I want you guys to discuss. Oh, they're discussing over here, the front. You guys ready to talk? All right, they're talking over here. I don't hear talking in the back. There we go. All right, I'm going to give you guys another minute to kind of wrap it up and talk, so you talk quickly. How you guys doing in the back? All right, I see a fist raise. That's good. That's encouraging. The back tries to hide. All right, I'm gonna mosey on. Let's go. Let's go to the next step. All right, so we're going to talk about chain of thought prompting now, real quickly. So what is chain of thought prompting? All right, so here, let's put this in here. And we're doing okay. So here's a reasoning problem, all right? John has one pizza cut into 8 equal slices. John eats 3 slices. His friend eats 2 slices. How many slices are left? You can just put it in there, and for the interest of time, I won't have you do it. But here's another one that we'll do, a reasoning problem, is a classroom has 2 blue chairs for every 3 red chairs. There are a total of 30 chairs in a classroom. How many blue chairs are there? These are reasoning problems. You might have a reasoning problem with your hotel or with your revenue management or whatever you're doing. And in theory, it would share your results, but I'll keep moving along. Is that it's important for chain of thought prompting is important for explainability. So what it is, it will just give you an answer, but you don't know how it derived that answer. And chain of thought prompting allows you to see how it came up with that answer. And also, when it's going through the processes, it actually makes it a little bit more accurate. So how are we going to do that? So chain of thought prompting makes, it makes it a little bit more explainability. And all you do for chain of thought prompting, all you do is put in there, think step by step. Step by step. Provide examples of step-by-step reasoning. Let's approach this step-by-step. Walk me step-by-step through this. So now if you take the same thing, and by doing this, it'll show you the steps, it improves the accuracy, a little bit more transparent, it's even very versatile. So that's all you do is see this little red line there? Explain your reasoning step-by-step. And now it'll take it through step-by-step exactly how it derived the answer. Isn't that wonderful? I'm going to show you something even more wonderful. It does it here. This one's a little trickier, right? For those who aren't great at math, describe your reasoning step by step on how many chairs. Well, it does it all for you, so this way you can check it. Because sometimes it'll just say there are 12 blue chairs in the classroom. And sometimes if you ask it for an answer, it might give it that, but you may not know. It might be hallucinating, like remember the strawberries, right? So you wanted to follow its step, and that's what you did. Few-shot prompts. What is few-shot prompting? All right, so what few-shot prompting basically is you give it examples of what you want it to do, and then you ask it what you want it to do. So for example, say you're a writer. You have a bunch of articles you've written. Say, here's some articles I've written. I want you to write another article about this, but use my style, my word choice, my tone. And I'll write the article similar to how you've done that. That's few-shot prompting, but I'll give you an easier example here. So what few-shot prompting is, you have a brief description of the task, give it some input, output, and then you tell it what you want. So let's go. All right, here it is. So for sentiment analysis, all right, the task, classify the sentiment of these movie reviews. You give it a movie review, you say that's negative. Give it another movie review, that's positive. Another movie review, negatives. So you're kind of training it as to what you expect it to be. Each one of these things is called a shot. That's like AI talk. All right, then you say give it a new input. So then you give it this one, and it's going to come up with whatever you trained it on. So does that make sense? The back? All right, good. Don't worry. All right, so you can do it for French. Okay, so product name. So this would be interesting for those marketers out there, right? So you have a task. Create a catchy product name with a given product description. Input, water bottle that tracks your hydration levels. Output, Hydroglow. That's clever. Another one, input, a pair of noise-canceling headphones designed specifically for sleeping. Output, Dream Muffs. Input, a solar-powered backpack with built-in phone charger LED lights. Solar Trek Pro. Those are how it's being trained. Those are the shots. Then it's going to say, come up with an eco-friendly, biodegradable toothbrush, blah, blah, blah. You could bet it's going to kind of be something like those. That is few-shot prompting. So when you're creating something, if you're a brand and you have sort of like brand guidelines, it says it needs to look like this, that's how that works, all right? Now we're shifting to image generation because that's what you guys came for. This is where the big money is made, right? All right, so ChatGPT uses DALL-E 3. All right, so those of you who are using the free version, I think you only get 3 image generates 3 to 4 per day. So hopefully at your table you have somebody that has a free one. All right, so when you ask it to create an image of a duck, it always kind of looks like this. So I said, create an image of a duck. Again, I'm not being very sophisticated here, but that's what it does. But now you can engage in a little bit of a conversation with it. You say, now update this duck and put him in a hat and boots and add some ducklings. So, but you see the duck has changed. All I've done is add like this clarification. It changed the duck. But you know, no boots, give him sneakers. So that's that. And then I said, you know what? Add a dog to the photo. Change the ducks again. But now where'd the boots go? But the dog is there. So again, when you generate the images, you can it remembers some of it, but not necessarily all of it. So with images, a little bit different than in terms of text generation, where it kind of remembers the history. Here it kind of sort of remembers the history, but not exactly. So then I said to this thing, can you make some prompt suggestions I can use to improve this image? So it's the one with the dog, right? So it gives me a whole list of things that I can use to improve this prompt. So again, if you have an image that you have and you want to find a way to improve it, you can just stick it in there. You could use that with pretty much anything. Like say you're doing a PowerPoint slide, a PowerPoint presentation. How can I improve this slide? It'll tell you. But here we're talking about dogs and ducks. All right, so I take the top one here, right? And this is what it does. This is what it gave me. So all I did was put it in, here are 2 variations of the image. So I took it, again, changed the ducks around, but now the boots somehow came back, and all the ducks have hats, so it kind of remembers that. That's kind of great. So, and then I say, take a look at this image, please describe what you see. And it describes everything that it sees in this detail. Isn't that great? So in theory, you think, I'm going to take that full description there, I'm going to put it in. What kind of image is it going to create? It should create something probably pretty similar, right? And that's what it did. I mean, it got the boots, the ducks, the texture of the ducks changed, got the rainbow. So anyway, that's a little bit about how the images work. So we're going to now text. Text on images. What do you notice about the text on these images? In the back. You notice the spelling? Is the spelling right? Spelling is wrong. Spelling is usually wrong when you try to generate these images because these things are trained on pixels. And pixels are these little dots of color. It's not like a large language model, which is the word generation machine of ChatGPT. It's 2 different types of technologies that they're putting together. It's always going to, at least for now, it'll probably improve soon. But right now, you do not count on anything being spelled exactly right. Just don't count on it. Always check. All right. So this is a pixel-based challenge. All right, image generation. All right, copyrights. So if you try to create an image of Mickey Mouse, you can't. Because it's copyrighted and say you can't do that. And so just know that if you try to create an image of someone famous, a celebrity, something copyrighted, say I can't do that. All right, so here's something for those of you who want to try this. Here's a glass of wine. See if you can create an image of a full glass of wine. And when I say full glass of wine, fill it to the top. See, do this on your chat thing. Say, I want a glass of wine filled to the top. And let's see if anyone is successful in doing this. Anyone create a glass of wine yet? Is it full? Is it filled to the top? Anyone get it filled to the top? None. And I'm telling you right now, none of you will be able to do it. Because it has been trained on that this is a full glass of wine. You will never be able to fill it up to the rim. That's how it's been trained. This is how the technology seems to understand what a full glass of wine looks like. There's no way around it. All right. So the role of prompt in image generation. All right? It's important to be clear. It's important to give detail, and it's important to give contextual cues. You want to be specific. So you, instead of saying dog, say a golden retriever playing fetch in the park, unless you just want a dog. Describe the scene. If you want a more complex scene, describe it in detail. And use clear language. Avoid being flowery. Be specific. Be detailed. Tell it exactly what you want it to do. And then, of course, you got to experiment once you're doing it. And just remember the medium. All right, so now I've got like a whole list. And I think all you guys will have this. But when you are creating an image, there are lots of different ways to convey what you want. Style, color, time of day, season, mood, geographic location, depth of field, subject matter, scale, aspect ratio, framing. Lots of opportunity to be very detailed and very specific. Background, foreground, reflection, shadows, contrast, saturation. And here's the other thing is like you have these things, but you can't put too many of them in. At a certain point, it just won't take the extra detail. So that's where you have to experiment with it. Atmosphere, cultural influence, technology, character expression, action, symbolism. There's more. Color theory, brush strokes, depth, dimension, opacity, surface finish. That's a lot of detail, right? You guys never even thought about all this stuff when you're creating images. When you came in here, you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to get with image generation. You get a whole guideline here. All right. So if you don't know, in the back, if you don't know, and you're stuck, just go into the ChatGPT and say, you know what? You explain what you're trying to do, and it'll come up with some of the detail for you. Isn't that great? It's very handy like that. All right, so here, I'm going to do a couple of prompts for you, and I'm going to show you, and then we're going to have our final exercise, which you all have been excited and waiting for. All right, so here's a prompt of a boy and a dog. You can see the example, create an image of a young boy and his loyal golden retriever in a whimsical, semi-stylized watercolor style, set in a scene of lush summer meadow at a golden hour with warm, soft lighting. Use vibrant but slightly muted colors, dominated by golden yellows, fresh greens, sky blues. In the background, show a distant tree line, setting a sun, creating hazy, dreamy atmosphere. Include wildflowers in the foreground, blah, blah, blah. You see the detail? What kind of image we're going to get? I know. All right, ready? There it is. That's the dog, the boy and the dog, look. But the thing is, it spits it out in force. There's another one. There's the boy and the dog. And that's the style. So you see that? If you take the time, you put in the detail, you can get something very special. You guys ready for another one? In the back? All right, finally, the back. You guys woke up. All right. Let's do an old clockmaker, because everyone loves old clockmakers, right? Generate an image in the style of gritty, high-contrast black and white photograph. The subject is an elderly clockmaker in his workshop, set in a dimly lit Victorian-era room. Use a wide-angle lens perspective to capture the cluttered, intricate details of space. Position the clockmaker slightly off-center, hunched over this workbench. In the foreground, he should have a weathered, expressive face with wrinkles, wearing small round spectacles and a worn leather apron. See how it's being very specific? Isn't this special? All right. Employ dramatic lighting with a single harsh light, blah, 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 fill the ground. All right. You guys can read that. You can't read it in the back. That's why I was reading it out. Ready for the clockmaker? All right. Do you think this matches sort of what was described? So that's the clockmaker. It's one of a kind. It's just specific to this. Unless you just say, create a clockmaker, then other people might get something similar, like with the duck. Create an image of a duck. It always kind of looks like that first duck I gave you. But once you start to add more details, that is when it starts to change and become a little bit more customized. Got to put in the time. Again, it's all about detail. It's about being proactive. All right. One last one, and then we're going to do our group project, our capstone, and then you'll all be graduates. I'll give you a little certificate. You guys ready? Oh, what? Wait. You didn't see that. You did not see that. All right, let's create an underwater scene in hyper-realistic digital painting style set in the depth of an alien ocean of an exoplanet. The water should have a thick, gelatinous quality with a bioluminescent teal hue, using the golden ratio with the focal point being an enormous translucent jellyfish-like creature. Its body should be iridescent, reflecting light, rainbow patterns, long graceful tentacles that extend beyond the frame. The creature's internal organs should be faintly visible, pulsating with an otherworldly glow. Light is seen primarily through bioluminescence. All right, but you guys already saw it, so that's kind of disappointing. All right, there it is. There it is again. There it is again. All we used were our words. Nothing fancy. Just knowing how to talk to this thing. Okay, ready for your capstone project? There you go. Here's the capstone. The final exercise. You're going to work at your tables, and then I'm done talking. So this is what I'd like you guys to do. We're going to wrap it all up together with everything we learned today. I want you guys to create a drink for the Conrad Hotel. Give it a name. Come up with special ingredients. Tell a story about the drink and create an image of the drink. Isn't that sound like fun? All right, work at your table. Maybe you guys split it up. Take one part. Everyone take a little different part of it. One person does images. Another person does the drinks. Talking. Everyone should be talking.